All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Bradley Hallman here. Super excited to have you guys along with me today. Today we are going to take a tour of my brand new Phoenix 920 Elite. This is a model that I've actually run. This will be my third year running the 920 Elite, and makes it very easy because I'm just changing from one boat to the next each year. Tackle organization stuff, we're going to go through all of that, how I organize in this boat, everything that I do, all the add-ons, all the extras, everything. Bring you guys along with me. Super excited to show you my brand new rig. Tried to get this video done before I left. You guys that watch my channel realize it was a little bit hectic. Then wanted to shoot it while I was in Florida. No chance. That didn't happen either. So we're going to take care of it right now. Here we go. Let's come back here and get this thing fired up. Start off the video. Got to have a radio, right? Everyone's got to have a radio in it. All right, cockpit. Tilt and trim, hydraulic jack plate on this side. I've ran that same system for a lot of years. Ever since I got in a Phoenix, hydraulic jack plate's a big deal because these boats respond very well to hydraulic jack plates. Got a place to mount my phone. That's a big deal to me. Plugged in, always got power to it. I don't ever want a dead phone in case of emergencies or something like that, as much time as we spend on the water. So I rig up all that, try to tie it up. I kind of got a mess here right now because this is my camera system too, and it's kind of falling down. But anything that's out of the norm here, I don't see anything other than SmartCraft. I run a SmartCraft every year. Mercury SmartCraft tells me how many gallons of fuel that I've used, how many hours are on the boat, and then any indications of anything that's going wrong with the motor. It generally gives me a heads up. Beat-down mounts, like on the console. Crazy about this mount system right here. Very easy to adjust. Just loosen it up. You can swing any way you want. You tighten it back up. Same thing on the pole. I can slide them closer together, further apart, further forward, further back, just with a real quick twist of a little handle here, and adjust it any way that I want. Super easy to install, and it's rock solid. It's not going anywhere. 212s at the console, 126s. These are Garmin 126s, along with, like I showed you in the front, the 126 and the 110-inch. So 4 Garmin's total on my boat. I don't have 6 or 8 graphs, although some of the guys do. But that's enough for me to operate. I generally run GPS on one, some type of sonar. And like I said, I can move my live scope to the front or the back. So sometimes I even use that here at the console if I'm idling, if my trolling motor's in the water. So do a little bit of that. Hot foot, a must-have, even though Randy Blockett says it's not. To me, I think it's a safety issue. I can't imagine running a bass boat 70 miles an hour without one. They scare me to death if you were to get thrown or lose control of the boat. At least that way that sucker comes undone and your kill switch will kill the motor. So hot foot is a must for me. Radio. Got to have it at all times. I always want that. Tilt power poles. This is my little stick mount. This is where I use my poles up and down. That's used a lot with docking. I always carry this sucker around. And I'm not sure who makes this. I think it's Dock Stick. I believe Jewel makes these. It's a handy little deal. You can take this and throw this up on top of the loop. And on the dock, you know, the metal loop. And then with Phoenix, I just hook it right here on this. And it's an easy stowaway. So I just carry it right here all the time. Little dock stick stays right there, and it's easy for me to reach whenever I'm docking. It's a good little system. Scale stays right there. Easy culling. Every time I catch a fish, enter it in the computer. Camera, GoPro mount is right here on top. I actually I had a little flex mount over here, and I actually just hard mounted to the top of my Garmin, which I'm much, much happier with. Balance beam stays right here behind my seat. Anytime I get one that's so close that I don't like to trust the scale, if it's down to within tenths of ounces, I'll usually put them on a balance beam and bump them. Glove box that stays junked up, probably just like yours does. Little WD-40, little screen cleaner, a couple extra pairs of glasses in there. Let's see if we still got some water from Florida. Oh yeah, look at that. Water from Florida, but no basses. No basses. Just water. Both my back boxes are kind of my catch-alls. I do carry regular Plano tackle boxes back here. I can usually carry about 10 or so, and then my sweatshirts, extra rain suits, anything like that I can fit in here. I keep in this back box on this side, and then on this side, this is always my catch-all. My system for culling is always here. I can open this box, grab my cull balls, put them on a fish, put them in a live well. But this box keeps everything. I mean, I've got my tow ropes, I've got my extra gloves and whatever I'm needing to keep out of the sun for buffs. Some extra plastics. This is actually my sight fishing box. It stays back here and just didn't get the lid put back on it. Fire extinguishers. My actual tow. This is like when things get serious, which we actually had to use this the other day at Seminole. I had to have Suka pull me out in practice. I put it up on a dirt bank trying to get into a backwater pond. Yeah, didn't work. That's pretty much what stays in that one. 2 live wells, and of course, gotta love the lawn guy. All right, guys, the bow of the boat. Garmin, force trolling motors, 36 volt trolling motor, brushless trolling motor, GT36 transducer. This is all the craze that everybody's talking about for live scoping. That is the freaking one they want. Props, learned this the hard way. This one is my beat up grass prop that I just ran down there in Florida because I had the thrust prop that was on there before. It is not made for grass, and I can promise you definitely, huge improvement. If you're living in Florida, you need some grass, you definitely want to try the grass prop. We've got 2 props at Garmin. That is definitely the one for that state. Front, Garmin's 112, Garmin 10-inch. So I've got a 126 and a 10-inch Garmin up front. Pretty much run live scope on the 12-inch 24/7 on the 10-inch. Mapping and a lot of side imaging. I like to use side image. All of my graphs are networked together. They can pick up any transducer, front or back, so it doesn't matter. So if I want to pick up my side imaging transducer mounted on the back of my boat, which normally you would use the console, I use it here a lot. When I'm on trolling motor, it allows me to see out, 70, 80, 100 feet sideways, even though it's after I've passed something. It kind of allows me to not miss objects or rock piles or grass beds isolated off to themselves. So that's something that I use that 10-inch for quite a bit. Got this thing mounted on a beat-down mount. This is the ultimate shorty. Raises, lowers, spins, locks down, however you want to do it. I like it up high whenever drop shotting, live scoping gets a little bit closer to me. Me being 6'4", this is a big advantage that I have. This mount is rock solid. Of course, this graph right here is not rock solid because it's not mounted into the case. But that would be my Garmin. There we go. Mounted in solid. Lower this thing back down real easy. Tighten it back up. Solid as a rock. Like, that thing is not going anywhere. Mounted with that new leveling kit that Beat Down has. It's mounted. They make one of those for every single boat manufacturer out there. This leveling plate right here. And that thing is solid as a freaking rock, dude. Tilt and trim switches on the front of a Phoenix. Easy to use. Foot pedal. You step your foot up there, up, down. Power pole buttons right here. And guys, this is probably my new favorite thing. This is a new latch for my trolling motor. This is actually a little kick switch that allows your trolling motor, and it clamps it whenever it's down. There's no way that it can possibly ever come up in big waves or anything else. So it's just backup reinforcement of the one that's built inside of the Forces trolling motor, that this thing will never, ever, ever come up. I've never run one of these. I believe they're sold by TH Marine. I love that thing. I'll never run a boat without it again. That is pretty much the rundown of the front of my 920 Elite Phoenix. Let's move down to the trailer before we move down through the rest of the boat, because the trailer is a big part of the components for us. Swing away tongue, it's a must for me. No matter where I stay, tents, garages, and everything else. My boat will fit in here 20, 21 foot without unhooking, without having to swing it, but I do like it here because then it allows me room to walk around the back of the boat. Frame, trailer. I didn't go with saltwater trailer this year. I went back to the standard, no reason. The aluminum trailer I love for saltwater purposes, but this year I just went back with a standard Phoenix trailer. Accessories that I add onto the trailer always shocks on both axles. Makes a big difference on pulling, and trailer brakes. This year we've got a new brake system that we're trying out. It's a heavy duty and it's only on a single axle, but it's a lot bigger disc brake than what we've been using. So this is the first year that we've tried it. I think a couple of us guys are guinea pigs on that deal, but so far so good. Super happy with it. I definitely can feel it whenever I pump the brakes. That's pretty much it on the trailer. Let's get into the rest of the boat. Carrying a couple of props, different props for the Garmin Force. This is actually, and I learned this the hard way because the first day I was at Okeechobee, not so good. I was running the regular Force prop. It's kind of a speed prop. It's got a lot of power and torque. not so good in the vegetation. So I had to get the weedless prop. We have actually got 2 different props that fit this, and as soon as I went to it, big difference. And as you can tell, I chewed it into a million pieces at Okeechobee going through the jump, which is typical Okeechobee. Okay, this is where things get really complicated back here. I've got a lot stacked in here. And for years, I've been overkill on batteries. And for the first year, I'm even overkill of overkill. So these 2 batteries right here, these 2 Pro Guides are both 31 series, 12 volt, 12.8 volt exactly, lithium batteries. So these 2 12-volt batteries are running parallel, and they run all of my electronics, my starting, my power to my boat, live wells, all that stuff. Power poles, everything's run off of them, along with my grass. Now, with this system, I've got the bass tank harness in here, and so it's separately wired to go directly to my grass. Power coming straight off of this, through this breaker, directly to my grass. Nothing else is in between. But this is overkill. I promise. You can get away with 1 of these batteries. But I'm doing it with 2 because it's what I do for a living, and I don't like to leave anything up for chance. Now this is a little overkill, but not as much overkill as this is. This is my extra oil. You always want to carry an extra gallon of oil in your boat. It's amazing how many times that horn may go off and you're low on oil and put you in guardian mode, and you're still 30 miles away from the ramp. A little bit of oil on the boat, pull the cowling, fill it up, and get back in. Don't know exactly why that happens, but it has been known to happen, so I always carry an extra gallon of oil for that purpose. All right, so the overkill is here for sure. These are 36 50 amp hour lithium batteries from ProGuide. A man can fish on 1 of these all day long. And I know this because I've got this little switch here. See, this switch is 1, 1 plus 2, or 2. If I turn this switch to 2, it's only running on this battery alone, no other battery. If I switch it to 1 and 2, it's going to run off of all 3. Now, like I said, these are 36 volt. You only need 1 of them to run your batteries. I primarily fish on 1. And when I'm on 1, it's running these 2 batteries alone. So what I've done is I've run these 2 batteries in parallel with each other, separate from this one. This one sits asleep, in sleep mode most of the time. This is only for backup. And if something was to happen to 1 of these, or unfortunately 2 of these, with the click of a switch, I can flip and go to this one, and I've got 36 volt battery. A man can fish on 1 of these all day long. I mean, they have 50 amp hours. That is a lot, a 36 volt. So charging is not an issue. Plug it in. My power pole charge actually charges all of these batteries, except for this one that I have by itself, and I have to carry a off-board charger, not an on-board charger, but a separate charger that I carry with me. And I plug it in about once, maybe every 2 weeks or something, just to make sure that it's topped off. But it's good to go. It stays there. I just want it alive for backup. But these are the 2 that I use every single day, and I couldn't run 2 of them to dead if I tried. So super, super excited. But like I said, this is overkill. Definitely a good idea to have 2 of these. Not a bad idea to have 2 of those. I started running lithiums 5 years ago. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. The boat that I'm about to sell, the boat that I'm about to sell, my last year's boat, the lithiums in it are 5 years old. And so when I first bought off on that nut, because it is quite expensive, I was concerned about longevity and livelihood. Well, instead of having to change out batteries every year or every other year, well, like I was doing with acids, those batteries have been solid, and I have moved those batteries, those set of batteries, I have moved them from boat to boat to boat. And this is actually, last year was the 5th year that I ran on those 236s. So there is no doubt in my mind, and they were only 40 amp hours, so these are actually bigger than those were. There's no doubt that I can run on 2 lithium 50 amp hours all day long, because I've done it for the last 5 years. The life expectancy of these things is 10 years plus. So you're kind of making an investment to where you're not having to go to Walmart or wherever you're buying your batteries from, purchasing acids, and then find out about March or April of the following year that, yeah, you've got one that's gone bad or two that's gone bad, and you're replacing all three to make a 36-volt system for your trolling motor again. Huge difference. Another big difference has been our electronics, obviously. The Force trolling motor is a brushless trolling motor, so it sucks less juice than the trolling motors that I used to use. And I've noticed that as well, so that's made a big difference on it. I like all the kill switches that I have, power switches in here. I can turn my trolling motor off. Every Phoenix comes with this. Kills all the power to that. This is off my bass tank system. I click that breaker. That'll kill all the power to the electronics and grass. And then I have another switch over in that corner, which comes to the main breaker box of everything in Phoenix, and I can kill the power to it, which will kill the power to my power poles and everything else. Power pole charge is what I use on these batteries. It's mounted right here. It's simple. I plug it in right here at night with the little plug I showed you guys on, I think, one of my last few videos that I did. Plug it in right there at night. I've got a cord that's got a light on it. I like to use a light like this one, a cord with light in it like this, so that I know that I've always got power. Sometimes power goes off at the houses that we're staying in. A bunch of us plug in at the same time. We'll flip breakers. A lot of times you're plugged into a GFI on the outside, which is tied into all the outside plug-ins of a house, and they're real easy to trip. So I know when I come out in the morning, if it's lit up, I've still got power, probably had power all night long. If that light is out, I know instantly that I've got a problem. I need to start looking. So give you a heads up on whether you need to charge or not charge, or if you've got enough charge on your boat. Don't forget your gallon of oil. Where are we at? Carry a couple crescent wrenches and extra cables. And the two crescents are the sizes of my battery nuts in case something was to happen on the water, so that I could change whatever over to whatever I needed to change to. Jack plate, I run the Atlas. This is the same jack plate. It's a 10-inch Atlas hydraulic. I've run it for I don't know how many years. It's by far been very faithful to me. It's been a strong jack plate. Like I said, the Phoenixes, when I first got with Phoenix in 2012, I didn't run a hydraulic. And it was because some of the other boat manufacturers that I've been with in the past, I'd had hydraulics on them, and you could raise it all the way up, lower it all the way down, and it didn't really make a difference in the performance of the boat. That is not the case in the Phoenix. Huge difference in performance. Big waves, big swells, I can sink it down, I can sink the front of my nose down, it will respond. Smaller when I'm wanting to go faster, I can raise that thing up, get it chimed just right. Matter of fact, I know exactly where it is. It's at 13 on that digital readout. That is top end speed, smooth running for my Phoenix. But it definitely responds up and down, so it makes a big difference. Try and take off in shallow water, raise it all the way up. Run in places that are pretty stumpy and it's a little bit sketchy, which I've been prone to do quite a few times. Raise it all the way up. I'm crazy about the hydraulic jack plate. It's a big deal for me. Power poles, obviously a big part of what we do every single day. Got 2 blades, 8-footers. I don't run the 10s. Some of the guys up north probably do. I run the 8s because of where I fish. A lot of docks, a lot of cables, a lot of what I call crawling, trying to get into places. I need something that I can get down and get under. So I can lower these down a little bit, trim my motor down, and I can get in some pretty tight places with the 8-foot poles. Dual 8-foot poles, and then obviously the Mercury Pro XS 250. 24 pitch Fury Pro. I think that's pretty much it, man. That's a rundown of the entire Phoenix of my 2023 boat. Oh, we're gonna go through all the tackle organization. Got to do that. All right, storage boxes. I keep all my hard tackle in here. This is all my terminal tackle I keep in this box. It lays right on top. And then all of my tackle boxes laid out through here, the majority of what I'm fishing with. Phoenix comes with a sliding tray. I keep all my necessities in here. Pins, markers, dyes, whatever little baits that I might be working with or throwing at the time. My BFE's laying right up on top. I like the little sliding tray a lot. More tackle here, more tackle up here. Dude, you can stack a lot of tackle in this 920. It's deep. It drops way down in there. It's organized really well. I've got all my little tackle boxes here. This is just my drop shot stuff. Swim bait heads. All that stuff fits in the side. This is another little box of different kinds of swim bait heads. They all just stack in here nice and neat. And like I said, the big thing for me is that I'm able to move from one boat to the next, and it just lays in here just like what I had set up the year before. So Ziploc bags, something I use a lot of. I carry them. That's my kind of my storage system. If I get 5, 6, 7 packs of plastics that are the same, I generally just put them in a big gallon Ziploc, That's how I organize. I keep all my plastics right here in this rod box right here, right next to my light. So I keep a lot of my different plastics in here. This whole thing is just crammed full of different plastics. One of the things that I use, the plastics are really heavy. 90% of the time that I spend in this boat, I spend by myself, and plastics weigh a lot. So the fact that I'm sitting over here and the plastics are over here kind of helps balance the weight of my boat out overall. Extra reels. Oh, extra reels laid up here in the front. Carry them there, so they stay there. These are usually just my trash cans, my bins that catch all my baits, and then my trash down below. That needs to be cleaned out. That's definitely left over from last week. And some Advil, because you don't ever know when you're going to need your ibuprofen for your back hurting. That's the center box pretty well. All of my rods. I take out the rod organizers that these come with, you know, the tubes. I carry too many rods. I'm usually carrying 30 to 40 rods in here. You can fit them in here if you use the rod sleeves and come in here and stick them in. I love the fact that the man showed up to do my yard right now today. We've been waiting to film this video for probably about 3 weeks and had it scheduled, and he decided he hadn't been here in 6 months and he's going to show up in 2 hours. We're shooting this video. Perfect timing. Hope you can hear his lawnmower. It's actually not his lawnmower. He's actually putting pre-emergence out. Yeah, pre-emergence spraying. But anyway, all of my rods in here, and then I carry quite a few on top of my truck too, and my rod coffin. Over on this side is nothing but tackle or life jackets, extra rain suits. I try to keep this bin somewhat clean because I never know when I'm going to need to store extra stuff, so it goes in here. This box has always been my spinner baits. One box sits up high, and then I've got 2 more boxes that sit down there. I got them split up by blades, Colorado blades, Willas only, and then Willa Colorados. And then anything that's Indiana, something like that, will probably be in this Colorado box. But I always carry a lot of spinner baits with me, being the old Oklahoma guy that I am. We like our spinner baits. All right, boys, that is pretty much a complete wrap of everything involved with my 920 Elite, my 2023 Phoenix. Don't know anything else to cover. I've showed y'all every single thing that I've got in here. Appreciate every single one of y'all watching. Everyone that subscribes, bump that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Bump the like. And guys, until next time, I guess, we're out of here.